Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us here on our 3 News Plus app and on our YouTube. Really cool subject we have to talk about today, all things children's health, but we're actually going to revisit a story that we brought you back in April, so a couple of months ago, about the fish skin procedure being offered, fish skin graft procedure being offered at Driscoll Children's Hospital. It has produced incredible results for children who've been needing, who have had to undergo some very serious surgeries and needing that extra help. And then after that, we're going to talk about safety, right? We have the 4th of July coming up, and here to talk with me about all of these things, all of these subjects, is none other than Roxana Reyna with Driscoll Children's Hospital. So Roxana, thank you so much for joining me here.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So let's go ahead and start with this. It was with you back in April that I first learned about the fish skin graft procedure. And you were sharing with me that since that story aired here on 3 News, that is something that a lot of people have quickly become very interested in learning about. It has made the rounds on social media. So kind of talk about what that's been like, and then take us back and talk about that, what that procedure entails.
Well, it was very interesting. We did get a lot of media attention that actually went worldwide. And when I say worldwide, I had received a lot of different emails and texts from several of the reps that worked with the Keris's product, all the way to Switzerland. So we saw Switzerland and in Germany, different areas that had the interest of using this fish skin graft. And we're very excited for this to be talked about nationwide, because that means that it's going to help children and maybe even other patients around the world.
Yes, and the story that you had introduced me to was incredible. But she wasn't the first. I think you had shared with me at the time she might have been one of the youngest patients to receive the fish skin graft, but that she was not the only
Correct.
one. This is something that, in a sense, as far as Texas, maybe even the nation, Driscoll Children's was kind of helping lead the charge on this procedure, correct?
Correct. We've used fish skin graft for a couple of years, maybe several years now. And it's a product that came about from, usually like a rep will bring it to the hospital to introduce new kind of products, things that are available for wound care and healing. And that is how we started to use that. And when we use products, we want to make sure that they're safe and that they're cost effective and non-toxic for patients. You know, that they were able to read the literature on what the product is about, what it can do and all. And that's how we started using that, utilizing it on patients that needed an extra help in generating or growing their own tissue, so that then they can be ready for a skin graft or complete healing. And that is what happened to a lot of our patients. We saw great outcomes, and we saw great outcomes in kids that were very sick, kids that were in an ICU setting where they can't have surgery and they can't have a skin graft. So they are needing to have that help. And the fish skin has proven to help these babies and children into being able to heal their wounds. So yes, we've used it on a lot of different kind of patients and types of wounds as well.
Now, something that was really cool at the time that we did the story originally was that this is from a very specific type of fish from a very specific location. So kind of talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, this fish is actually caught. It is from Atlantic, from the Iceland waters, the waters that are very, very cold. And it plays an important role because the waters are so cold that it keeps those levels down of like the bacteria and viruses. So it's taken from there. Iceland is a beautiful country that is very resourceful, and they utilize the I guess you can say kind of like the waste of that fish if they were using it for something else, right? to be able to use that in a form where it's cleaned out and now then used to be able, to use it to help people with a skin graft.
That is just incredible. I remember y'all had
Mhm.
told me that it was specifically the belly of the fish. So it's just
Exactly, yes.
it's such a cool procedure. I don't know if you would happen to know this, Roxana, but since the story and it having generated so much interest, are there, to your knowledge, are there by chance more families or parents that have been reaching out to the hospital thinking that this might be able to help their child or anything like that?
I think that parents are more open, and they've heard about that. I've taken care of children in the hospital that recently, like a mom has said, I read the story, I heard about the story, and they are mainly proud, that we were able to help utilize some such advanced kind of like wound care and technology, and I have also heard like of adults wanting to know more about the fish skin graft. Like, how can it help them if they're diabetic? And, different types of other uh, conditions. Are they able to use a fish skin graft to help them heal as well? So I think that people are learning more about that, which is really, really great for the community.
I agree. And then just to kind of backtrack just a little bit, to me about the specific why someone would need something like a fish skin graft.
Mhm. So, like, there are different kinds of wounds, but when you have wounds that are deep, maybe like a deep wound, you will need to fill that wound to heal from the inside up. And a lot of times you might have patients that have maybe such a deep wound that they have maybe muscles exposed, tendons exposed, areas that might need a little bit more help to be able to heal that in before they put on a skin graft, meaning like their own skin used from one area of the body to be able to place on the top to be able to heal, right? Is kind of like as simple that I can explain that, but also just different locations where they might have a wound that is non-healing. So like even in the adult population, they use it where they might have a diabetic ulcer, they might have burns, even in children, and burns and any kind of wound that has disrupted the tissue and you need for that growth, to come back and fill in the wound, you can use a fish skin graft. It takes more than just a product, and there are millions of products probably out there, but the products not only work by themselves, or like we tell our patients, you have the best products, the best surgeon, but also we need to allow the body itself to be in the best condition to heal. And a lot of the patients that I care for that are at the bedside cannot go into the OR because they're very sick and they might need extra blood flow. They don't have enough blood flow to the area. They don't have good nutrition that helps to support it to heal. So they might have different conditions that just do not allow that best environment for the wound to heal. And the fish has shown that even in those times, those states that the patient could be in, has shown to still continue to heal on our patients.
Yeah, the healing properties of it is just
Mhm.
it's insane, but in the best way, right? It's so cool, but of course that makes
Yeah,
sense that the person would they have to be almost like in the a certain it's not a one size fits all, it sounds like, procedure.
right. Yeah.
Well, I'm so excited to hear that Driscoll Children's has been getting so much attention about this really, really cool procedure. Before we kind of talk about July 4th safety, summer safety, I know you had mentioned you want to talk about ATV safety.
No.
Is there
Mhm.
anything else about this procedure that you think would be helpful for families here in South Texas and beyond to know about it, and the incredible work that y'all are doing at Driscoll Children's Hospital to perform this procedure?
Sure. So the fish skin graft, like we talked about, comes from the belly of a fish, right? Their belly, and they could take it from there. It has different properties that we talk about, and that includes like the omega omegas that are very good for like the inflammation, in a body. So that also plays a good part in that. And there's studies also that are showing that it also helps with pain. So there's a lot of different newer things that they're finding out, or newer um, results from these properties of the fish. So that's very good. It's natural. Um, a lot of the wound care products that we do have come from natural elements, or natural, like honey that we talked about as well.
Yeah, the honey.
So they're like modern times mixed with ancient times, where the Egyptians used the honey first, but now we also incorporate that. We've come back to utilizing that, where they have, for example, sterilized it. Now you can use it as a medical grade, like medical grade honey. We use a lot in the hospital as well. So I just want parents, or individuals out there, to know that there are different forms of products, and the fish is one of them. Fish is not necessarily just a sheet of fish; it comes in form. So in the babies, we get to use that in particle form, and that's like one of the ways that we use it on Eliana, was mixing the honey with the fish, and using those together, the properties in both of those dressings, to help heal her wounds. So it's available out there, and there are different products that one can use. Not one product is best for everybody, but it is worth a try to ask your provider if that's something that could work for them.
Sure thing. Yeah. And I especially I remember that from our original interview, hearing more about the healing properties of honey was so, so cool. I am personally a big honey fan. I put it in almost and on almost everything. Well, thank you so much, Roxana, for all that. And I'm
Sure.
so excited to hear that the fish skin graft procedure has been something that is just gaining traction and interest from all over. That has been really cool to watch. But let's go ahead and talk now about summer safety, because I know kids are outside or they're home from school, and who knows, getting into whatever. And obviously, you guys don't ever want to see them having to come through y'all's
Right.
door. So, talk about maybe what y'all tend to see this time of year, especially as we get closer to a holiday like the 4th of July.
Okay, I think that kids are out for the summer. They want to have fun. Parents want kids to have fun, and all the activities around them. There's always potential for problems, right? But what we have to focus on is prevention, and that's kind of like one of the things that we do here. Is we see a lot of different wounds, but um, when you look at that, I think that we can help prevent a lot of them. And some of those are going to be like when you're outside. Right now, we live in a very hot environment out here, right? The sun is so hot that we need to take a look at things as like the sun, even just the sunscreen, and the amount of time that you're out in the sun, the time of day that you're out in the sun, to be able to help avoid to get a sunburn, right? Because you will see patients that will have burns and blistering, and it can be prevented by utilizing or using sunscreen, right? Use a sunscreen, stay in shaded areas to keep dehydrate from being dehydrated, drink plenty of fluids, and so on. So just depending on the activity that you're doing, focus on what are the things that we can do to help prevent any kind of injury, really. And things as simple as you're outside playing, or the kids are outside playing, and their crock falls off. I've seen that too, where then the patient comes in and they have blisters on their feet. Just burns from seat belts, even like their seat belts.
Wow.
It's hot. That it's hot, so we just need to be a little bit vigilant and careful in whatever activity that might be. Outside, whether you're like by a pool, making sure that the kids are being monitored, that the kids that are around water are protected, have safety vests, and know how to, we can see kids, with near drowning and drownings, and that's something that we really don't want for anybody to have to go through. So
Of course.
um,
And I know whenever
maybe
I had
some of
reached,
them.
yeah, I know when I had reached out to you about talking about this, summer safety, keeping the kiddos safe. A big topic that came up for you was ATV safety. And so what is something that
Yes.
you
Mhm.
really want to hit home, and why were you like, yes, let's talk about this
Let's talk about
particular
that one.
topic?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. There are, those part of the activities, and we live around areas where people ride around in golf carts, even, right, or little
Mm-hmm.
small utility vehicles. So I've seen a lot of kids, and even in my own neighborhood, ride around like that. And I've seen a lot of kiddos out from the ranches nearby, all the small little towns that they
Mm-hmm.
have ATVs and such, and they, ride around for a fun time. But we see accidents, and those that we do see can be kind of extensive.
Mm-hmm.
I would say several patients that I've seen have had long times or long-term treatment in the hospital and multiple surgeries because they've been injured with a through an ATV accident.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these patients are also always passengers. Um, some of them are like have a seatbelt on, or but others might not. Kids are having fun and they might not think about that, but we need to really push and impress upon the safety of it as well. So I'm really um, have to turn around whenever I look at kids, or my own nephews and nieces are on there.
You're
But I
like
know they want to have
checking.
fun.
Yeah.
Yes, I just want to look away because I'm very concerned about that because I see the
The
outcomes,
aftermath.
and
Yeah.
that's the hard part is trying to stay fun, like to be a fun aunt whenever you've been able to have to take care of all these different wounds. Mhm.
Well, I understand just how serious an ATV accident can be. I was the passenger in one, and it was not fun. I was treated there at Driscoll Children's my senior year. So yeah, I can attest to that. It is not
Yes.
fun. So kiddos, please be safe. Parents, just
Yes.
please be safe. Let's go ahead and end on this topic since we do have Independence Day festivities coming up here soon.
Mhm.
And lots of folks are going to be popping off fireworks. Hopefully, if they choose to do
Yes.
so, it's something that they're doing legally, right? Cannot be popping inside city
Right.
limits.
Sure.
But we also know, we have folks that live out in the country, and kiddos may have been, exposed to fireworks, maybe older siblings, aunts, uncles.
Sure.
What are some
Hmm.
things you want to make sure that you hit home to parents and guardians
Also,
and whatnot?
yeah. Um, you can't always say that it's the parent not monitoring them or
Mm-hmm.
like taking care of the kids, because it happens. There are accidents. The parents are around, and they can still get a burn with a lighter or something else that they're trying to use to light a firework. Fireworks, I've seen some injuries as well. When you light something, stay away, because I've seen injuries where they lit it and they think it's not on, then they've come back and then they've had a fracture in the forehead, because there's been pressure from a firework, or a trash can of fireworks tilts over, and then all those fireworks that are rockets shoot to the back of an individual. So you see, I'm never fun to be around these things, but just be careful with the kids. I mean, the little hand um, Roman candles. I've had my
Mm-hmm.
own nephew, one burst in his hand. So uh, everything is, out for fun, but at the same time, we have to be very careful with these kids, and just try to be as vigilant as you can to help protect them while they're having fun. Um, is pretty much what I want to say about the fireworks
Yeah,
safety. Yeah, firework safety is
just
another big one here. Oh, one more thing I wanted to mention, I guess that we hadn't yet, is snakes. Snakes is one thing that
yes.
we should
Mm-hmm.
really be cautious about.
Absolutely.
Is to be able to just remember they're out there and they can be anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Even in my own home, there was one wrapped around the bottom of a small bush that we had.
Oh
So
my goodness.
um, you just have to be vigilant. We wear sandals summertime,
Mm-hmm.
kids are barefoot or whatever that may be. But snakes are going to be there and they're going to be right at your feet. So we've seen, snake bites and um, kids are playing outside in the dark, or maybe the lights are dim, outside, and they can hear it, and then they just feel it. So I would be vigilant just of your surroundings. Have fun, but just be aware these are the things that can happen during these times. So we need to be a little bit more vigilant with our children.
Absolutely. I mean, we're in South Texas after all, right?
Yes.
It's
Hmm.
their home too. So it kind of comes with the territory. But most important thing, keep safety at the forefront.
Safe.
Well, Roxana, thank you so much for talking with me about the fish skin graft. Is so interesting and fun hearing all the interest that it has generated across the nation. So that's really,
Sure.
really cool. And then, of course, all these really important safety reminders because we are still very much so in the thick of summer. So I really
Yes.
appreciate your time. I appreciate all the hard work y'all are doing there at Driscoll Children's. And I see one of your coworkers behind you, so I appreciate you as
Yes.
well. Y'all are just also
Yes.
amazing. So we appreciate all of y'all very much.
Absolutely. It takes a team. And here we say, until all children are well, together we heal.
I
Yeah.
love that. Roxana, go ahead and stay on the call here with me, but that's going to
Okay.
do for this interview. So I appreciate you so much talking with our viewers
Thank you.
today.
And thank you so much. I appreciate you too. And your story that you initially did with us has now spread all over the world. So just know you're helping children and others too. Thank you,
Amen.
Leslie.
We love that. Thank you, Roxana.